It's Wednesday, November 15. Time for your Barbados Day Evening News Update. I'm Kmar Jordan. Thanks for joining us. In the news at this hour, top officials of the ruling Democratic Labour Party are mum about reports that St. John MP Maura Thompson will not be contesting the next general elections. Mrs. Thompson reported to journalists outside Parliament yesterday that she would not be seeking another term as MP for the rural constituency, formerly held by her husband David Thompson and regarded as a DLP stronghold. Assessing the development, respected political scientist Dr. George Bell tells Barbados Today the DLP erred in giving Mrs. Thompson the seat in the first place.
I believe that she was chosen because for sentimental reasons, because of the death of her husband and the fact that he was leader of the Democratic Labour Party. That she would have succeeded because anybody would succeed in that sense. That was the Democratic Labour Party candidate at the time would succeed in St. John, because St. John was probably the safest DLP seat in Barbados. So she did not have to show any particular political skill, any particular enthusiasm, and I don't believe that she even necessarily had any particular political interest in running for St. John. But she was asked for sentimental reasons, and because sentimentality was at its height at the time, she went forward. And in a sense, then you could conclude that she would not lose, so she became the representative for St. John.
Dr. Bella adds that it's now up to the party to make the next move. He says there are good options within the DLP camp and suggests that former candidate Leroy McLean, Senator Verla de Pisa, and Labour Minister Dr. Esther Barsuku could all be considered as possible replacements for Mrs. Thompson.
Somebody like a Leroy McLean would have been a good person to have run even back when Maura Thompson first went forward, because he had political experience, he had political skill, he was enthusiastic, he had carried the fight for the party for a long time. I would say that, on the other hand, they'd be looking for a seat for Berla de Pisa is running in Christchurch West, which I don't think she can win. And but she has some political potential, and they can run her in a safe seat and in St. John. Or they could be looking for somewhere to save Esther Barsuku, who is in a vulnerable position in St. George South.
Yeah.
So that the three of those people they could choose, I think they would be the best people possibly to choose from to run in St. John.
Among the other possible contenders are said to be the DLP General Secretary George Pilgrim and Government Senator Andre Worrell. We'll continue to monitor that story. In other news, immigration officers are meeting with the National Union of Public Workers at this hour. They are discussing the proposed relocation of the officers to new headquarters at the Princess Alice Corporate Center in Bridgetown. NUPW General Secretary Rosalind Smith says the move was scheduled to take place since June 30th. However, the handover of the building is behind by some 4 months. Mrs. Smith says the union is concerned about the health of the officers since more than 75% of staff is experiencing challenges with the current work environment at the Carinage House on Worth Road. Residents in Sergeants Road, Ellerton, St. George are running out of patience. They're upset that repeated calls to the Barbados Water Authority to fix a ruptured pipe have seemingly fallen on deaf ears. The pipe was damaged a week ago after a road repair crew from the Ministry of Transport and Works fell into the hole, causing the pipe to burst. Residents tell Barbados Today while some water workers have been to the area to fix the pipe, nothing was done, and they were forced to take matters into their own hands in a bid to save water.
I would expecting that they would do something about it. But I see them in the truck sitting down, they get out the truck, they sitting up on the wall, they check. And I see they talk to nobody, they let nobody know what's going on, so nobody really sure what's happening.
It is not a nice thing. They should be doing something about the things for the Barbadian public. It is not a nice thing that we don't feel good about how things going on now.
Local health authorities warn that Barbados is losing the fight against diabetes. Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Heather Armstrong, told a lecture in observance of World Diabetes Day last evening that more women are at risk of developing diabetes, and this was a cause for concern.
We recognize that being a female in itself is a social determinant for type 2 diabetes in the Caribbean, and that was illustrated by research done by Dr. Natasha Sobers Granum, where she did a systematic review of all of the studies that were done in the Caribbean, and it showed that if you were a female, it is more likely that you would have a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes later on in life. And it meant then, and I need to say to you what a social determinant is, because I've used that term, but I have to explain to you what I'm saying by using the word social determinant. And all that is the conditions in your environment which have an effect on your health, your ability to function, and the quality of life or outcomes that appear in your life. So it could be where you live, it could be what occupation you have, the level of education.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Indulge your every craving at this year's Barbados Food and Rum Festival, November 16th to 19th. Thursday, the festival kicks off at Oyston's. Friday, the Barbados Concord Experience, 8 chefs, 6 mixologists and the energetic Spice & Company. Saturday, taste the spirits of polo featuring Chef Jason Howard. This would not be Barbados without a beach party. Sunday, enjoy an impressive lineup of Barbadian entertainers at the Ellerton for Feet in the Sand. And the weekend would not be complete without the Gourmet Safari Dinner Series at the Cliff, the Crane and the Tides. Remember, November 16th to 19th. Get your tickets at TicketPal box offices today.
To regional happenings now, as world leaders meet at the United Nations Climate Change Summit in Bonn, the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda blames climate change for causing the hurricane which devastated Barbuda in September. Gaston Brown has called on polluting countries to help with the costs of reconstruction.
The relief part of it has gone very well. Unfortunately, the rebuilding part of it is moving painfully slow, and that is because of a lack of resources. The estimated cost of reconstruction is in the region of $250 million. We've had some pledges, but so far the pledges have not exceeded 10% of the required funding. And as a small island state, a microstate, I mean, to raise $250 million is actually beyond our means. It is obvious that we'll have to borrow in order to rebuild, but at the same time, borrowing brings with it significant challenges because we are already very highly leveraged, and all that will happen is that if we had to borrow, let's say, $150, $200 million, is that it will further strain our financial resources. Now, this disaster was not as a result of any wrongdoing on our part. We are literally victims of climate change. And we have the view that the profligate users of fossil fuel, that they have an obligation to assist.
On the international scene, Zimbabwe's military leaders have seized control of the impoverished southern African nation, placing veteran leader Robert Mugabe under house arrest and deploying tanks to the streets of the capital. The president of the neighboring South Africa, Jacob Zuma, said 93-year-old Mugabe, the world's oldest living leader, was unable to leave home. We get more now in this CNN report.
Well, the military is running the country, so in all words, but the ones that they say, well, it's not a coup, but the facts on the ground suggest that it is a de facto coup. You have military that we saw in Harare checking vehicles, checking IDs, armed soldiers in personnel carriers are also downtown at key strategic points. The military has clearly taken over the national state broadcaster here, where they are frequently repeating that early morning statement that you played there an excerpt of. So the military is in charge. It's not clear what role President Mugabe, 93-year-old, who's been in charge of this country for nearly 40 years, is in charge of, because as you said, the President Zuma of South Africa contacted him. He said that he's under a detention or some kind of house arrest, but is safe. So a lot of questions, a lot of rumors swirling around here in Harare. The situation is calm, the streets are calm, but that heavy military presence certainly tells me who's really in charge here in Harare and Zimbabwe at this hour.
And we leave you with this story. Pope Francis today received a spectacular gift, a white special edition Lamborghini valued at 180,000 euros. Well, he blessed the vehicle, but he said he won't be keeping it. The vehicle will be auctioned at Sotheby's, and the proceeds will go to 3 charities. Well done, Pope Francis. And on that note, we end our evening news update, but there's more online at www.barbadosday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, or you can like us on Facebook. And of course, if you're moving around Barbados Day this evening, you can check us out on Izumi Media in bus terminals or Screenplay in a supermarket or a gas station near you. Also, tune in to Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Kmar Jordan. Have a peaceful night and be sure to join us right back here first thing tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for our next update.